Hey, Cowboys Nation! It's a tough day for fans of America's team, as we've received some heartbreaking news that has sent shockwaves through the entire NFL community. Zack Martin, one of the most dominant and respected players to ever suit up for the Dallas Cowboys, has announced his plans to retire after an extraordinary 11-year career. And when you talk about Zack Martin, you're not just talking about a star, you're talking about a 9-time All-Pro, a future Hall of Famer, and a cornerstone of the Cowboys' offensive line for over a decade. But now, the question on everyone's mind is, who is going to step in and fill the massive shoes left by this legend? Today, we're diving deep into this situation, discussing the possible replacements, and exploring all the options that the Cowboys might pursue in the coming months. Stay tuned as we break it all down. Before we even begin thinking about replacing him, let's take a moment to appreciate what Zack Martin has meant to this team. Over the course of 11 seasons, Zack Martin has been nothing short of phenomenal. A 9-time All-Pro selection, Martin's consistency on the field has been unmatched. He's been an anchor for one of the NFL's most respected offensive lines, helping establish a running game that has been the envy of the league, while also ensuring that Dak Prescott has time in the pocket to make those game-changing throws. His technique, leadership, and sheer power in the trenches were the stuff of legends. One of the most remarkable things about Martin's career is how rarely he had a down year. This man rarely missed a game and was always there when his team needed him most. Whether it was opening lanes for the running backs or protecting the quarterback from blitzing defenders, Martin was the guy you could always rely on. And now, after an incredible career, he's decided it's time to retire, which leaves the Cowboys facing a huge dilemma: how do you replace a future Hall of Famer like Zack Martin? Now, the Cowboys do have some internal options that they could look to as potential replacements. First up, we've got Brock Hoffman, a player who filled in for Zack Martin when the veteran went on IR this past season. Hoffman had some big shoes to fill, but he didn't back down from the challenge. When given the opportunity to step into the starting role, Hoffman played well, providing stability to the offensive line in Martin's absence. The Cowboys were impressed by his performance, and it's clear that Hoffman has the potential to be a key contributor moving forward. But it's not just Brock Hoffman that the Cowboys have their eye on. Another player to watch is T.J. Bass. Bass is a young guy who the Cowboys have been high on for a while now. The team believes that Bass has the tools to be a future starter, and he could be another internal option to take over for Martin. While both Hoffman and Bass have shown promise, the reality is that replacing a player like Zack Martin requires more than just filling a gap. The Cowboys need someone who can dominate in the trenches, someone who can carry the legacy of the position. So, while the internal options are promising, it's clear that the Cowboys will need to explore every avenue to ensure that the offensive line remains elite. But wait, let's talk about free agency, because, believe me, the Cowboys are not going to sit on their hands and hope that Hoffman or Bass can simply fill Martin's shoes. The front office is going to explore every possible option, and that includes bringing in some new faces. One name that has been floated around as a potential addition is Mekhi Becton, a player the Cowboys were previously interested in when they released Tyron Smith in 2024. Now, let's be honest, Becton's career hasn't exactly gone as expected. He was a first-round pick back in 2020 for the New York Jets, and after some injury setbacks, he never really lived up to the hype that surrounded him when he entered the league. But that all changed when Becton found himself with the Philadelphia Eagles in 2024. The Eagles made a bold move by shifting him from tackle to guard, a position he hadn't played before, but that change proved to be a massive success. Starting 15 games at guard, Becton really found his rhythm. His size, 6'7", 363 pounds, makes him a nightmare for defenders, and when he's firing on all cylinders, he's a dominant force. Pro Football Focus even ranked him 20th among all NFL guards, which is an impressive feat considering the transition he had to make. Now that Becton is a free agent, the Cowboys are once again being mentioned as a potential landing spot. Could this finally be the change of scenery that Becton needs to truly fulfill his potential? Only time will tell, but it's a scenario that makes a lot of sense for Dallas. Another name that could fly under the radar but is worth keeping an eye on is Will Fries. Fries was absolutely on fire for the Indianapolis Colts in 2024 before a devastating injury sidelined him for the season. He had been performing at an extremely high level, and many believe that he was on the brink of becoming one of the top young guards in the NFL. Unfortunately, he broke his right tibia in Week 5, cutting his season short. But here's the good news: Fries is expected to be fully recovered by the time the new season begins, and he has expressed a desire to return to Indianapolis. But with the Cowboys needing to reload on the offensive line, could they steal him away from the Colts? Fries' story is one of those what could have been situations. If he hadn't gotten hurt, there's a good chance that Fries would be a household name by now. But with his health on the mend, this could be the perfect opportunity for Dallas to swoop in and sign a talented, underrated player before anyone else catches wind of his potential. Let's face it, this is a pivotal moment for the Dallas Cowboys. Replacing Zack Martin isn't just about finding someone who can take a snap and run a few drills, it's about making sure the offensive line stays a strength for this team. We all know that an elite offensive line is the foundation of a successful team. With Dak Prescott needing time to operate, and the running backs needing lanes to break through, the O-line is essential. If the Cowboys mess this up, it could have ripple effects throughout the offense. So you can bet that the front office is feeling the pressure. Not only do they need to find a suitable replacement for Martin, but they also have to keep the continuity and chemistry on the offensive line intact. The Cowboys have been successful for years because they've had a solid, dependable line, and any drop-off in quality could derail the offense. That's why the Cowboys have to get this right, not just for the short term, but for the long-term future of the team. So, Cowboys Nation, here's where we stand. With Zack Martin's retirement, the Cowboys now have a massive hole to fill on their offensive line. They've got a few internal options like Brock Hoffman and T.J. base, but the team is also going to explore some big names in free agency, including the likes of Mekhi, Becton, and Will Fries. It's going to be a crucial offseason for the Cowboys, and how they handle this situation could very well dictate the success of the next few seasons. What do you think, though? Who should the Cowboys target to replace Zack Martin? Should they roll with an internal guy like Hoffman or Base, or is it time to bring in a big-name free agent? Let me know in the comments below. And as always, make sure to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you don't miss any updates on the latest Cowboys news.